Hello everyone, today, to celebrate the arrival of the new year, I thought I would make a quick video explaining where this channel originated from, where it's been, and where it's going. As you can probably tell, a lot of stuff with the channel has changed this year, and I think this is the perfect time to explain why that is. So, when I started this channel, approximately 5 years ago, I did it because I wanted to learn some editing. At the same time, I was watching a lot of YTPs, so I thought, why not make my own? There is this progress when you look at the channel where it starts with some really amateur stuff, and from there it progresses into more detail, better editing, and actual thumbnails, and overall better quality. For the first year of making YouTube videos, it was essentially a personal project of mine. No one was watching those videos, and I never felt the need to tell anyone about them. The first video to pop off, and this might come as a shock to many of you, was the Hell's Kitchen YTP, and shortly after that, the Kazakh videos blew up. Even now, they are the only older videos that can contest the newer content on the channel. I also remember that at some point I made a goofy Ben Shapiro cyberpunk video, so that got 1 million views, and from that point onward, I promised myself that I will never again go after trends. So, the years passed, and when I started the channel, I had a very set amount of videos I wanted to make, and all of them were YTP ideas. I understand that some of those videos may have not been an entirely good idea to begin with, and realistically they should have only existed as ideas in my head, but hey, I made them, and now they're here to stay. I guess, in time, I covered all the YTP topics I wanted to cover, and they kinda became stale for me, and I didn't feel like renaming the channel SpongeBob and Kazakh YTPs. So there was this really weird period where I just uploaded any stupid video idea that I had in my head. Some videos were for good, and some videos were not for so good. I will be the first one to admit that as shitposty, nonsensical, and deep fried as those videos were, it is also the case that they still make me laugh. At the same time, I started experimenting with covering actual video games. Very sheepishly, might I add. I was going for a comedic review type deal, but it never really worked. It might be the case that I didn't play around with the idea enough, but it never really worked for me, and it never really popped off on the channel either. Now, throughout all those years, there was always a video game I would play every now and again, and there was always a mod insert video game that would always be stuck in my head. I really got into Skyrim modding around 2017 to 2018, but even years later, I would still keep an eye open for new adventure mods. I first played Vigilant in 2017, and it never left my head since. It was living rent-free there for 4 years. Remember that whole joke in that video that On Your Grave by Wellman was stuck in my head for 4 years? Well, I am here to tell you that that was not a joke. I noticed that no one had ever bothered going into depth and explaining what happened during that mod, so I was like, screw it, I got a channel, why not research some stuff and make it into a really long video explaining it? And I did. I expected nothing big to come of it. I more so made it as a personal project for myself. By that time I was still just shit posting for the memes. And for the first 3 months, that was exactly what it was. It never even went above 1000 views, but then it kept growing, and growing, and growing, and now it's the most watched video on my channel. As much as I absolutely love this development, I also regret not taking the time to research things a bit more, or taking the whole thing a bit more seriously, or perhaps looking into some things a bit more thoughtfully, like the infamous Balthazar incident. Also, I wasn't really familiar with making those larger videos at the time, so sound quality varied throughout the video, and with all those imperfections, as well as the fact that I knew nothing about the sequels, it is still the most influential video I ever made, at least for me, because it was an absolute blast to make. It helped me to discover how much I love the Elder Scrolls lore and how much I love Skyrim modding, and it also showed me that there's a community of people willing to listen to me talking about this stuff, which is what I have been mostly doing for the past year. So, where does this channel go from here? Well, the most requested videos for the channel are of course Glamour and Loonslat, and as much as I would love to rush for the gold, aka these reviews, they are both on voice actor, and Glenmore isn't even finished yet. Trust me, I would know. I keep stalking Vicent's blog every week. Last week, they posted that they were working on a new model for Sotha Seal, and that was the hardest ice hijacked ever since a new DLC for Risk of Rain 2 got announced. Unfortunately, we have to be patient until all is perfect, lest we want to have any unfortunate hiccups. To be honest, even if I was compelled to make a video about them, I played both mods, yes, but I am not sure what happens and I haven't gotten out of my way to find out exactly what happens because I just don't want to spoil it for myself yet. At some point someone told me an important spoiler about what happens between the Dragonborn and Laza at the end of Glenmoriel, and ever since then I have been living in a perpetual state of fear for more spoilers. Passion is important, especially when you're making a 2-hour video on a single topic, and if I rush them out in a ravenous march for more content, well, there's not much passion in that now, is there? That being said, I know that a lot of people want at least some pointers to understand what is happening with those two mods, and I have some ideas as to how to do that. I cannot give any promises yet because all those ideas are insane, but keep an eye out for the coming spring. It's gonna be at least interesting. I know, it sucks when the YouTube man makes you wait, I've been there, but I also have a lot more stuff cooking in the oven that isn't just about those two mods. Which brings me to my next topic. This coming year, I want to see if I can turn YouTube into a full-time hustle. As of right now, I already have a full-time job, but I want to mess around with this website just a bit more. I don't like the idea of having YouTube memberships or Patreons, but I do like the idea of getting sponsors for some of these videos, especially for the large ones. They are quick, they are optional, and I feel like they can be done well. With the new year, I will also work to make sure that there will be more content between the bigger videos, as to not again enter hibernation for months between uploads. You have probably seen some of those videos already, and I have way more coming. A video idea that I have that I want to share with you right now though, is a 3-part series detailing the sources of Elder Scrolls lore. Part 1 will be about the games, what they have to say, and the more important works in them. Part 2 will be about the real life sources, such as the Lord of Souls and the Infernal City novels, and part 3 will be about the non-canon sources, such as the Korra and the Love Letter from the 5th Era. So get hyped! We only just begun out here. And now to spice things up a bit, I thought of doing a end-of-year Q&A session. Let the people ask their questions from my video comment sections or from the community post I made last week. Trisas Christ asks, what's your favorite piece of Elder Scrolls lore? Like any specific stories, individuals, artifacts? As of right now, I am split between Sotha lore and the Unundead Anuat. As of right now, Sotha has the edge, but it's a very close run. But that monologue he gave during the end of the Clockwork City DLC still has me going. Jokas asks, what is a mechanic you really wish was possible in Skyrim's engine? I wish spellcrafting was a thing, just like in Oblivion. The Fada asks, not much of a question, but have you ever heard of Nimwraith's mods? No? No, I can't say I have. I'll keep an eye out for them for the next Skyrim adventures and quest mods you should consider video. Thanks for mentioning them. Mohamed Aluri asks, what is the absolute worst mod you have played? Well, when you consider worstness, there is a couple of factors you need to keep in mind. Some mods are intentionally made to be bad for the memes. So what I consider the worst is a mod that had a grand scope and a grand vision, but failed to deliver. And for that I must say that the Rickmore mods have won the contest. I'll tell you one thing, right? When I was talking about the Rickmore mods, I was a bit worried because this was the first time I was criticizing a mod and not having much good to say. So when I uploaded the video, I was pleasantly surprised to find out that absolutely not a single soul in the comments defended the Rickmore mods. If anything, people were more merciless on them than I was. The mod desperately tries to make you like this character in any other way imaginable except by making the character likable. And if you think that I'm over exaggerating with that claim, then allow me to remind you that there are scenes where you can have sex with Rickmore, and during the end credits of Rickmore of Bruma, you can actually hear a song about Rickmore. Yet none of that changes the fact that Rickmore is insufferable, and the whole mod is centered around Rickmore. Therefore, the whole mod is insufferable. Yiji Demir asks, what is your bench press personal record? Well, I like to do 3 sets of 13 reps, so with that in mind, it's 60 kilograms. But if we're only doing 3 reps, that'll be closer to 100 kilograms. Now, please allow me to ask you a question. How do you know I do bench presses? Lysander Valerius asks, are you interested in looking for massive mods in other games? And what did you find out about Vigilant after you posted the video? Okay, so to answer the first part of the question, right now I'm not interested into looking into any other massive mods of other games. However, I am interested into looking into other games. Period. Yet that is still some ways in the future, but I would like for you to know that the next modding video that I'm uploading after Mates 2 will not be for Skyrim. And for the second part of the question, the obvious answer is a lot of things. I hadn't played the sequels, I didn't know who Balthazar was, I hadn't joined the Owl Archive server, I joined the server and played the sequels exactly the day after I uploaded the video. That was very unfortunate on my part. I didn't know the rabbit hole could go so deep. Amazing Horizon asks, oh, by the way, Amazing Horizon was the person who gave me the idea for the Beyond the Reach video. Thanks, dude. Where are you from? I cannot categorize your accent. What accent? Southern Europe. And that's all I'm saying. X-Warrior says about the Enderal video, isn't the first kid literally just a Seth ripoff? From what I gathered from the Enderal video, beyond stuff like archetypes, the human psyche, 46 and 2, is that in the year 2023, more people are watching Seth Syntech than they are American Psycho. I'm not saying that I didn't look at someone's homework before doing mine. What I am saying is that there is a greater line of homework being stolen here. Lazarek asks, "Hey Kotho, did you base your narrative style on anything else, or does it just feel natural? Also, I'd like to ask on why you decided to make other content beside YTPs." Well, as I just said, there is a bit of a Seth Syntech influence in there. I also watch a lot of other long-form content like Pyrocynical and Windigoon. I know I'm pretty based, so there ought to be some spillage from there as well. Also about the other part of the question, I was doing YTPs for 3 years. I had exhausted everything that I wanted to do with them when I started. I'll still make a YTP every few months or so, but I feel like after one point, I went everywhere I wanted to go with them. The Rogue Seraphim asks, what are your must-have Skyrim mods? Not including mods that fix the game. Well, surprisingly, all the mods that I consider must-have are also mods that are more or less just fix the game. I could say immersive weapons and armor, but all they do is just add more weapons and armor. And in 2023, that feels like fixing a lack of variety for the game. I do, however, believe that immersive NPCs is a must-have. And also when people ask me what big Skyrim adventure mods they should start their gameplay with, I always have 2 recommendations: Beyond Cyrodiil Bruma and Folskar. Listen, if you begin the game with something like Vigilant and Enderal, you are having the dessert before the broccoli. I say, take it slow. Obviously, these mods aren't perfect, but that's the point. If you begin with what is perfect, you will never let what is perfect down. I made the tragic mistake of starting with Vigilant early on, and for the next few months, I was just looking for the next Vigilant, only to come to the conclusion that unfortunately, there are no other Vigilants out there. I recommend people take it slow, and for that end, Folskar and Bruma are perfect. Masiech Tetek asks, did you play any MMOs that are not Elder Scrolls related that interest you with its lore? Well, I used to play World of Warcraft, but the lore of that game has since become garbage. I used to play Warhammer Fantasy, but that world got nuked and I don't like Age of Sigmar. If I were to make lore videos about a multiplayer game that isn't Elder Scrolls right now, it would definitely be Monster Hunter. I love Monster Hunter, and I feel like its lore is also amazing. And with that, this video concludes. I know I have been baiting you people with Mates 2 for the past 2 outros of my videos, but I promise you that this time it is definitely the next video to come. And with all that, Happy New Year! Let's see how far we can make it before getting thrown into the mental asylum.
Welcome, mortal! Make yourself at home. Have a cup of tea. No doubt you're wondering what you've just stumbled upon.